Okay, so good afternoon. Yesterday we discussed about business and manufacturing, right? Business area or business field as well as industry field. In industry, we talked about robotics, and also in business, we have taken some of the applications of ICT. Before we start today's proceedings, I have a few questions to be asked. So let me ask the first one quickly, right? I don't want to take much time. Quickly ask. So give me 3 advantages of online shopping. Anyone?
Open
Anyone can
24
ask.
hours.
Open 24 hours, ability to see,
Home delivery of goods.
Okay, right. Look, yes, it opens 24 hours in a day, even 7 days in a week also possible. And also, yes, transportation is there for your homes, right? Home delivery is there. And also it is possible to compare the products and buy the best one, right? And also the secure payment methods are available, credit card payments there, so it is very secure. And also you can save your time, you can save your transportation cost. So there are so many advantages of online shopping. Right, so we also discussed about video conferencing yesterday. So tell me the requirements for starting or for conducting a video conferencing. What are the requirements?
Internet, computer
Internet.
software,
communication
Okay,
software.
listen. I want someone. Listen. Anjana.
Internet, computer, web camera, communication software.
Yes, internet, computer, web camera, and the communication software like Zoom or any others, right? Right. So one final question. I explain about e-bankings, right? E-banking. So tell me 2 activities which can be categorized as e-banking activities. 2 banking activities which can be categorized as e-banking activities. Anybody? Did I explain e-banking yesterday?
The ability to withdraw
Did I
any.
explain e-banking yesterday?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so give me. Give me your answers.
That
Huh?
that to withdraw cash anytime, anywhere.
Okay. I explained, right? I took some time to explain that that particular one. Look, what does it e-banking means? Performing banking activities electronically. So here my question is, what are the e-banking activities? So simply ATM, right? ATM is one of the e-banking activity. Depositing money or withdrawing money from ATM is one of the e-banking activities. Even I mentioned about online banking. Right? Online banking, SMS banking, mobile banking, WhatsApp banking. Right? So all these things are included in e-banking category. Have you understood? So remember that point, they are e-banking activities. Okay, let's start. Look. So this is the one which we discussed at last, right? E-banking system, performing banking activities electronically is e-banking. So here I have mentioned some of them, some of the e-banking activities, ATM. So since banks are connected via internet, interbanking transaction activities are possible, right? You can transfer from one bank to another bank, that is possible. And also utility bills payment there. So everything is there. All right, so let's take the transportation. And next field is transportation. So even in transport also, ICT is used in many instances. Let's take three important applications, right? But you know, transportation is something which uses ICT in various areas, but we will take only these important three. First one is very simple, CCTV, closed circuit television. Even CCTV, we discuss CCTV in farmhouse also. Yes, for security purpose, we used CCTV in farmhouse. Even you can use CCTV in business or maybe industry. So CCTV is there for security. So since it is security related device, it can be used anywhere. But here we take it in transport because you know, CCTV cameras are fitted in major towns, junctions, in order to monitor the traffic. So even in Sri Lanka, if you take the capital Colombo, you know, in main cities or major junctions, these cameras are fitted. These cameras are connected to central office, where the police officers, maybe some officers, monitor the live video throughout the day. So they monitor, they supervise the live video continuously. So this is very good because if assume that there is a traffic jam in one place. So if that traffic jam is captured by the camera, those police officers can immediately inform to the public to take alternative routes. Have you understood? See, there is a traffic in a road. So without knowing, you know, motorists definitely use that particular path or particular road. So now, because of these CCTV cameras, live pictures can easily be taken from police headquarters or somewhere, and immediately they can inform the public through radio or television to avoid that particular route. For this purpose, they can use CCTV. Even so, when an accident happens, you know, measures to be taken immediately. So if it is a road, if it is a main town or major area, then it's okay. There are so many people there, they can take actions. But if that accident happens in a place where no people available, you know, it's very tough to take actions. So if you use cameras, these police officers can immediately take actions after watching that accident. So they can inform nearest hospital to take actions. That may be okay. Even these CCTV cameras can be used for tracking down the people who violate the rules, right? You know, some people can, maybe pedestrians, motorists, they disobey the rules. So those people can easily be tracked down using CCTV cameras, okay? So these are some of the reasons why CCTV cameras are used on roads, okay? Then this is another familiar one, traffic signal light, or we can say traffic light control system. So it is one of the ICT tool. Because of the traffic light system, the traffic is organized. Imagine if the traffic signal light is not there, you need thousands of police officers and some other security personnel for organizing the traffic. It is very tough, but it helps. This traffic signal light helps us for organizing the traffic. So this is one of the ICT application. Okay. So I hope that these do not need much introduction because you are well aware, right? Let's take another one. Right. This is very important. Listen to me. Parking identification placard, or sometimes called parking placard system. Parking placard system. Right. So this system is mostly installed in parking areas, especially when you take a company. It may have a big parking place because there are so many staff working there, all have vehicles. So definitely they have to park their vehicles. So, sending the vehicles to the parking area is tough. If you take a company, there may be thousands of workers work, maybe hundreds of workers work. All these people, all these employees arrive to the parking early morning, maybe at a particular time. So you cannot permit all these people to the parking because there may be some unauthorized people come. So you have to check them. You have to check the identity and then only you can accept them to the parking. So definitely imagine how, long it takes. You need to spend hours, right? But you cannot spend hours because it's a company. So they start their working office hours on a particular time. So you have to send them to the parking space quickly. But manually it is very tough. So that's the reason why this system is installed at the entrance of the parking. I tell you how it works first, right? After that, I will show a small video clip to understand. So generally, if you are working, okay, assume that you are working in that particular company. So you have a vehicle, you have a car. So if you are a worker, your details, your name, your car number, maybe the color of the car. So these details are registered in the company's computers or company's database. And also there is a small RFID tag. We discussed about RFID, right? So there is a small RFID tag is given to you, which has to be pasted on your car windshield, that particular glass, right? Front glass windshield. On the windshield, this RFID tag should be pasted. This has some information about your car, the car number, your name, right? The color, everything is there. Okay, so this must be pasted on your car, mostly on the front glass, which means windshield. So at the same time, your details are in the computer, right? That particular bank's computer. So when you approach or when you want to enter to the parking area, so now assume that you are in the entrance. So while you are in the entrance, automatically these details are scanned by RFID reader, right? There is a reader. We talked about such things earlier, right? In the farming field. So yes, farming area. So here, these information in RFID are scanned by RFID reader. Where is that RFID reader? It is in the entrance. So after scanning these details are sent to the computer, which are inside in the security room. So, your details are already registered in the company. So now after checking these details, the permission is granted. The door is automatically opens. The gate is automatically opens. You can drive inside. It doesn't take maybe 2 minutes, maybe within 1 minute you can, because it's an automatic process. You have to go to the entrance. Once you are there, automatically these details are scanned by RFID reader. Immediately verification process happens inside. Once it is successful, which means if you already registered, it must be successful. Immediately the gate opens. You can enter. This is how it works. I will show a small video clip, then you can understand. Look here. Right, watch this. Right? Have you understood? So they have shown two different vehicles. One vehicle, that blue color car, was already registered in the company. So after verification, it was permitted to enter. As you could see, that gate was automatically open, so that car entered. But in the second instance, that red color car wasn't registered. So just that RFID scanned, but after scanning that RFID information, the verification process failed. So immediately, the door is not open, the gate is not open. So that security personnel came to inquire something. Okay. Sorry. So let's watch it again because I want to explain something. So here, this is the RFID reader, this white color one, and also camera there because to scan the vehicle number, maybe vehicle color, body. So they use the camera also. But this is the one which scans those RFID information. This is called RFID reader. They have another camera for taking the numbers in the chassis, right? Chassis of the vehicle. Right. This is the RFID tag, right? So this has those information, right? Driver information or owner information, about car information. They are pasted or they are printed on this RFID tag. Okay, the color blue, register number, which means the car number, model, name, and the company in which that person works. Okay, these information are available on the RFID tag. Now, as you can see that those details on the RFID tag are scanned or are being scanned by RFID reader. Okay. Then there is someone who is inside and doing some process, even that can be done automatically, right? But here it shows the person with the verification. A verification, okay, right? So door opens. The camera also works to capture some other information, maybe number and car model, car shape. Now see, verification is there. Look at that. It's just a demonstration, right? So they showed like this car is not registered, so it is unauthorized. So this gate is not. Okay. So I hope that you got that idea. This is how the parking placard system works. This is very, very, important when it comes to big organization where you have hundreds of vehicles, because as I mentioned earlier, checking every vehicle manually is very tough. So they use this technology. Here also they use RFID. Even we talked about RFID in farming because to identifying the animals, especially cows, right? So they fit that RFID tag on the cow's ear and identify. So here also same idea, but it is about scanning vehicles. Okay. Right. Look at the description which I have given here. This is an entrance pass which is pasted on vehicles. When a vehicle comes close to the gate of the parking space, the sensor reads the placard and only opens the gate if the vehicle is already pre-registered. Okay, if the vehicle is already registered, then the verification should be successful. Otherwise, no. Okay, here the sensor means that particular RFID reader, right? So this is the idea. The tag is pasted on the windshield. Here they have two tag. I don't know what's the reason behind, but they have two tag. UHF means ultra high frequency. It's a radio waves signaler, ultra high frequency. That's an RFID tag. Here a camera also there and also RFID reader there. So RFID reader reads those information. Okay. Right. So I show some of the photographs about on readers and tags. This is how the reader looks like. Normal reader. It may be in different shapes, but this is one of the RFID readers. And these are RFID tags. Right. So very small device. Even the tag on the cow's ear also something which is different than this, but definitely everything is everything is a tag. Okay, RFID tag. So these RFID tags should be read by RFID readers. I hope that you could see such things on clothing items in textile shops. You have seen, right? So what is it? It is an RFID tag. You can see such things in a textile shop. This is an RFID tag fitted on a cloth. So because for a security purpose, they use it. So sometimes if you take the cloth outside of the particular shop, definitely you will be caught, because maybe at the entrance of the textile shop, they have RFID readers. So when you take this cloth with RFID tag outside, that RFID reader immediately reads and makes some alarms or something, right? So for security purpose, the shops use such RFID readers. Most of the shops, textile shops, use RFID tag on cloth. So when you purchase a cloth, definitely they have to remove this RFID tag from the cloth, and then only they can hand over your clothing items, right? Because if they give with that, definitely it will be alarmed, right? At the entrance, you can hear an alarm sound. Okay, so this is also RFID tag. All right, so we talked about business. These are the things to be remembered about business. Sorry, transportation. We finished business. Transportation. What are there? Three important things. Two of them are very familiar, but the third one is slightly new. What are the first two? CCTV, using CCTV, and also using traffic signal lights. But the third one is something new for you, because sometimes you don't have enough experiences with them. But this is also a well-known site in most of the cities in Sri Lanka, right? So big companies have such thing, parking placard system. Okay, so let's move to the next field. So this is e-government. E-government. Look, we have taken some words with or which start from E. We discussed about e-learning, but e-learning will be taught later, but I used the word on the other day, right? E-learning. We discussed about e-banking. And also, of course, I used the word email also. For some purpose, for some explanation, I used the word email. Look, if it is learning, you know, knowing something new, right? So that is learning. But learning becomes as e-learning when you use ICT related devices or some applications. Even now you are engaging in e-learning activity, because you are learning something with the help of internet, computer, smartphone. That is e-learning. But if you don't use any ICT related stuff, then your learning should be simple. Learning should be learning. Assume that you are studying your textbook, printed textbook. That means you're learning something. You can't say that I'm engaging in e-learning. That is learning. Similarly, if it is mail, you know, sending some post or maybe some information to the others is post or mail. We can call mail. You know, mail train, because that train carries the mail, right? Post. So that is mail. But mail becomes as email when those informations are passed through internet or maybe computer. That is email. We discussed about banking. So banking means banking activities. Activities taken place in the bank should be banking. But it becomes as e-banking because when ICT is involved in all these activities, then it is e-bank. Similarly, government is an organization or is an institution which provides services to people. Who is it? An institution, like our institutions, right? The schools and government is a big organization, big institution. So government is an institution which provides services to the public, to the people. That is government. But government becomes as e-government, or government can become as e-government when it provides services to the public using ICT. Have you got that idea? Government, the responsibility of a government is to provide services to the public. But if a government provides services to the public using ICT, by using ICT, then definitely it must be called e-government, electronic government, because now that government uses electronic things, maybe computer, internet, and other things. Have you understood? So that may be the difference between a government and e-government. So ICT must be there in order to provide services to the public. But look one important thing. Even though I mentioned that government has the responsibility to give services to the public, yes, it is correct, but government has the responsibility to give services not only for public, also for some other people. Look here, these are some of the people or some of the parties which can receive services from government. First one is public or people. Even you can say citizens, right? Citizens of the country. So for them, government has to provide services. And also business. Business is something different than individual, human beings. So that is also one of the parties, a party which receives services from government. Government has to pay attention on business. I will explain in detail. Even the government employees. Okay, so government employees also receive services from government. In addition to them, other governments, right? Other governments also take or receive services from another government. India may receive some services from Sri Lankan government. Sri Lankan government has the responsibility to give some services to the Indian government. So a government responsibility is not only for providing services to the citizens, it is also for business, government employee, government staff, and also other governments. So now it's very simple to define your term e-government. What is it? If a government uses ICT to provide services to its citizens, business, government employees, and other governments, then it is e-government. Okay, if a government uses ICT for providing services to these parties, definitely it is e-government. You can't say a government. Now it has a special name, e-government, because it uses ICT. Simple idea. I will explain in detail because these are very important. But before that, I take a simple example for justification. You know, we all have experiences in getting our results on online. So you have 3 public examination in schools, grade 5, GCOL and GCAL. So when your public examination result is released, immediately that is published on website. You know, Department of Examination is a responsible government body for conducting examination. So when results are released, they immediately publish the results on the website, on their website. So you don't need to go to the school or somewhere to see your result, right? You can take your mobile phone or computer and find your result. So in this instance, government provides service to the public or citizen. You are the citizen. Examination department is nothing, it's a government. So examination department provides the result. Result is a kind of service, right? Your result is a service. So that examination department provides the service to you. But remember, for providing service, that examination department used or uses ICT because it is available on the website. So using website, computer, they are nothing. They are ICT related things. So now I can say that examination department or Sri Lankan government uses ICT for providing that result to you. So this is e-government. There may be so many examples which can take for, proving that Sri Lankan government is an e-government, right? But this is one of the very, very familiar one. Okay, so remember this is e-government. Okay, so I hope that you all understand. But an e-government can provide 4 types of services. That is very important, often asked in exam. First of all, try to understand the term e-government. I hope that you all understood the term e-government. Thereafter, we have to understand the types of services provided by an e-government. It's also very simple. Watch this. So there is a service. There is a service called G2C. G2C. We use the 2 in number, but remember that is TO2. TO2, but in short, we use this format G2C. What does it mean? Government to citizens. Okay, this is the first type of service, government to citizen. TO2 is written in number. Okay, so what does it mean? These are the services provided by government to citizen, to its citizen. If you take later, I will explain, but I take a simple example. See, I took this result example minutes ago. Publishing your results on website. Definitely that is one of the examples for G2C, because examination department is government, we are citizens, so we receive those results from government. So it must be G2C service. But there may be some other examples also, but I will explain a little later. So we have another service called G2B. G2B, this is government to business, because as we all know, 4 parties receive services from government, right? So business also one of them, right? So it is G2B, government to business. Government to business, this is G2B. Yes, we have G2E. G2E, government to employees. But don't forget, these employees are government employees. You have to use the name government employee. But here in short, we used to write G2E. The government to employee, it's okay, but employees are government employees. Okay, so this is government to government employees. And also we have G2G. G2G, government to government, which means government to other governments, right? Government to other governments. So these are the 4 different types of services provided by an e-government. Take them again. G2C, government to citizens. So what does G2C means? The services provided by government to citizens. G2B, government to business. The services provided by government to business organizations. G2E, the services provided by government to government employees. G2G, the types of services provided by the government to other governments. Okay, so now we got that idea, right? But it is important to get at least 2 services under each category. If it is G2C, you should know at least 2 examples for G2C. Take Sri Lankan government. You can think about Sri Lankan government and find 2 different services provided by Sri Lankan government to us. So definitely they are G2C. I will explain. So, and also take 2 different services provided by Sri Lankan government to our business. Like that, you have to take some other examples too. Okay, let's start. I will show that definitions and other things first. Okay. The government which provides services to citizens, business, employees, and other governments using ICT is called e-government. It's very simple, isn't it? Following services are given by e-governments. G2C, government to citizens. G2G, government to government. G2B, government to business. G2E, government to employee, which means government to government employee. Okay, right. So let's take the first one, G2C, government to citizens. I have already explained this one. What is it? Showing exam results. I hope that you all could understand that one because you have experiences. You have first-hand experiences with this first point, right? Sometimes you directly, access the result, or sometimes maybe one of your family members accessed. So you have experience. Try understanding that it is G2C. That may be the important point. Now you should realize that obtaining results on a website must be G2C because that organization is nothing, that's government. Examination department is government. We are citizens. So we receive that result as a service from examination department, that is government. So we use ICT. Okay, that is one. Even paying utility bills, right? Utility bill payment, what is it? Your bills like telephone bill, electricity bill, water bill. So these bills, there may be so many bills there, right? So generally, if you take a normal, traditional country, you have to go to the nearest office, particular office for making the payment. If it is electricity bill, you have to go to the electricity, electricity board or somewhere for making the payment. If it is water bill, you have to go to the National Water Supply and Drainage Board for making the payment. But now things changed, right? So you can visit to the Ceylon Electricity Board website and make the payment. There is a facility available on that particular website. You can visit to the National Drainage and Water Supply Board website and make the payment. So who is Ceylon Electricity Board? Who is National Water Supply and Drainage Board? They are governments. Have you understood? So now they have such features on their website. So without going to the organization, you can make the payment. This is very simple for us, right? This is very convenient. So now also I can say that it is G2C because we are citizens. National Drainage Water Supply Board or CEB, all are government institutions. So this is G2C. Map of Sri Lanka. So Sri Lankan maps are available on government websites nowadays. Map means so the detailed maps, maybe administrative districts there and also the provinces. So all the details are clearly illustrated on maps. So you can obtain such maps from website, Sri Lankan government website, and understand the things, right? Because if you are, even though you are a citizen, sometimes you need to know some of the places. Sometimes you have to visit to some places. So you need those details. So it is easy. Okay, so these are some of the services provided by government to public. But it's, nowadays Sri Lankan government, even though, you know, Sri Lanka is a developing country, but even though it is a developing country, it has so many ICT, I mean, services to the public. They use or they provide so many services through ICT. I have given only 3, but many, right? Even if you take your, what else? Your vehicle license, which we call tax. So annually you have to pay a tax for your vehicle. So for that purpose, you need to go to the nearest DS office earlier, but now it is available online. You can pay the tax from your home, right? So that is also one. And also one of the other important thing, okay, let me explain that one, that may be very useful for you. Listen to me. So in Sri Lanka, there is an organization called Government Information Center. You might have heard, right? Government Information Center. That is the government organization for providing information about government. So as a public, we need to know some information about government. For example, say I want to apply for passport. So I don't know the procedures for applying the passport. So generally I have to go to the nearest office, government office for getting some information about how to apply. Or even I can call some other friends for getting those things. This is the traditional method, but now these procedures and everything are available on website. You can browse the website and understand the things. So even the Government Information Center, you can visit to the Government Information Center. It's a trilingual website, right? All the 3 languages are there. Right now, all the government related services are given on this website. If you have time, you can access this one. It is, as a student, you should know these things, not only studying, right? So those practical things must be here. Even you can give if you have a question, just search. You can put your question there on the search box and getting here. And also you can see the popular things are there. Look here, I am obtaining a new driving license. Assume that you want to take a driving license, but you don't know the procedure. Just click and read it. It is available in 3 languages, right? It's not important to know English. 3 languages are there. Registration of transfer of motor vehicle. You want to transfer the ownership to another one. So there is a procedure. Even look here, obtaining a new identity card. So you want NIC. So just click it. Okay, things are displayed. Obtaining a national identity card for first time. So the eligibility criteria and everything there. Everything, right? It's a complete detailed information. You don't need to inquire any other person. If you understand everything, you can go to the office and take the NIC directly. Okay, so this is one of the examples. So Government Information Center provides so many things. Even look at the number 1919, right? So they have a number, telephone number 1919. You can make a call for 1919 and get any information about government. 3 language facilities are there. There are, people in 3 languages. So you can access the right person to get the one that you wanted. Okay, so remember all these things are G2C. Clear? Right. So let's take the government to government information also. So one government provides some services to the other government. So here I have listed some of the government to government services. Laws. So one government should know about those legal aspects, because that government may instruct its public about how to obey or how to visit in the particular country. So Sri Lankan government needs to know about the rules and every things regarding legal aspect about India. Am I correct? So similarly, India wants to know the Sri Lankan legal system, those laws and everything. So those laws are published in Sri Lankan government website. Even for this can be for even G2C. Even as a citizen, I want to know about Sri Lankan laws. So this can be for G2C also, but here in this instant, it is G2G. Okay, custom information. This is very important because, you know, when Indian citizen want to come to the Sri Lanka, you know, there should be some information for foreigners. There may be some restrictions and some rules for foreigners. So government should inform or should display the custom informations. You know, there is a department called custom department. So they should handle all these things. So see, in some countries, you can take the gold, right? Gold is permitted. In some countries, gold, you cannot bring gold beyond that amount. Am I correct? So that they are custom informations. So if Indian citizen comes to Sri Lanka, so that Indian citizen should be aware about that rule. So those information should be provided to the Indian government. So that is custom information. Visa informations. So that is also available, right? For other countries, Sri Lankan visa procedure must be important. So Sri Lankan government can publish these visa procedures in their website. Okay, so these are G2G. One government should provide such things to the other governments. But some of the points may be for local people also, maybe citizens, but generally these are for other countries. All right. So I have taken two services today. There are 4 types of services provided by government, but I have taken 2. I briefly explained, but I hope that you understood, right? Because they are not hard to understand. G2C, what is it? A government provides services to citizens, but importantly, it uses ICT. Obtaining results, paying these utility bills, right? And also there may be many, right? So even see nowadays, you can obtain your textbook online, right? You don't need to get your printed books. Printed books are not important. All the textbooks are available on Education Publication Department website. Who is Educational Publication Department? It's government. So government uploaded all these textbooks on that website. So this is also one of the G2C example. I can point so many examples, but hope these are enough. Okay. Then finally we took G2G, where one government provides services to the other government through ICT. So we took some of them custom information. So, you know, those immigration informations are very important. So custom. And also visa, we should know how to apply for visa. So visa information is also there, and also those laws which are established in a country. Okay. We need to take the G2B and also G2E, but not today. We will discuss them in the next class. Any clarifications or any problems? All right. Okay, so since you don't have any doubts, it is enough for today. We will meet in another class. Okay, thank you.